Welcome to Capitol Tonight from the New York State Fair. It's a special edition. You know we're at the State Fair and not at the Capitol because instead of politicians, we're talking to goats today, although they're really not very conversational. Coming up, we're going to be looking at the butter sculpture. We're going to be hanging out, eating fried food, fried dough, fried Oreos. Plus, we're going to be talking tariffs. It is a special Capitol Tonight edition from the New York State Fair. Stay with us. Welcome to Capitol Tonight from the New York State Fair. We are here in front of one of the premier exhibits at the fair. This is the butter sculpture. This year's theme is Dairy for Good, Nourish, Grow, Thrive, and it's absolutely spectacular. Now we're here not just to admire the butter artisanship that you see behind me, but also because there are new tariffs on dairy. And what we're going to do is speak to some people about that, including a farmer. But first I have to eat something that they don't sell at the fair, or at least I don't think so, and that's a little lactate. We're at a very special place at the New York State Fair. This is the Dairy Cow Birthing Center, and in fact, several cows have already been birthed, and they are the cows that belong to this gentleman right here. This is Marcus Richards, a third-generation dairy cow farmer. Tell us about your farm.
My family's farm is in Skaneateles, New York, so we're about 25 minutes from here. We have 2,700 milking cows, and we grow crops on 4,800 acres. And I am, as you said, part of the third generation to be there.
Yeah, that's terrific. There is a certain reason why you find this so appealing. Can you share that with our viewers?
One of the things that drew me to this business was, one, the opportunity to work with family, and the other thing is how intertwined and sustainable everything is. So our cows, they make milk, they make meat, and they make more cows. And the whole time they're doing that, they make manure, and then the manure goes back out on the fields to grow all the feed that the cows are eating. So it's kind of one big cycle. And
you grow your own feed?
We grow the vast majority of our own feed, correct.
That's terrific. You also went to school for economics, banking, and agriculture. Yep, and you went into banking for a little while.
Correct, yes. I worked in ag banking for about 2 years after I finished school, and then some opportunities arose at the farm, and it was time to not be in an office anymore.
So I bet. So we're actually talking about tariffs today, and you have sort of an economics background. So have the tariffs impacted your farm as of yet?
Yes and no. Certain products that have been tariffed have had an effect on price and time to receive them. The biggest impact on us, I would say, has been the uncertainty. Certain suppliers are adding a margin into their pricing to protect themselves in case a tariff comes. But all the waffling and the up and down has kind of been the challenge for us. And also the timing of receiving things. We receive products, a lot of feed products and even some parts out of Canada. And things seem to be getting held up at the border more, and whether that's directly tariff related or not, but there seems to be some issues getting things in and out of the U.S. as well.
Your farm is also planning on building a new dairy milking facility, and that means you're going to be purchasing a lot of steel. There's a 15% tariff on steel coming from Europe, and that's where a lot of the steel comes from.
Correct. So everything that we've looked at, pricing that we've gotten so far, it is written in a way that when we sign the contract, they will hold that price. But almost every one of these contracts has a rider or a clause in it that if something goes crazy and there's a 50% tariff, that it will be passed on to the end user, being the farm.
What about a 15% tariff?
The 15 is probably already in there. They're not putting it as a line item, but you know, like you mentioned before, what was $100,000 is probably costing me $115,000 now.
Okay, so there aren't very many, there's not a big profit margin in farming from what we understand.
Correct.
So where does that $15,000 come from?
So the options are either you have it in profit, you're efficient enough and profitable enough to pay it in cash, or you need to borrow more money from the bank to do this project to move forward and become more efficient and profitable.
So it's going to come right out of your hide.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay. So we're starting to get hungry. Where do you recommend we go? The humans here feed.
I was gonna say we have some lovely grain and hay if you'd like that, but no, I gotta recommend the dairy bar. So you gotta get some milk to drink.
All right.
And I prefer any of the beef places. The sirloin tips. I believe there's hot beef Sundays here. Any of those are my top choices. So.
Perfect. Thank you. So the lactate has kicked in, and I can't tell you how good it smells. It smells like fried everything. So Mary Frances, our producer, and I are really hungry, so it's time to get something to eat.
Chicken fingers.
Chicken fingers, egg rolls, ooh. So we're gonna have Mexican street corn. We want to try a fried Oreo, an original baked potato with butter, cheese, and sour cream, and one fried dough.
Do you want cinnamon sugar too?
Why not? So it's lunchtime, and we've decided to get a selection of food, Mary Frances and me, and what we're going to do is sort of rate them, and we're going to rate them on two different variables, taste and fair walkability.
Yes.
So what do we have, Mary Frances?
So we have right here a baked potato, little sour cream, little cheese,
Little butter.
little butter.
Okay.
So we have other fun things that we're going to try. We have some fried dough. We have fried Oreos, which I'm really excited about, and we have corn on the cob. Looks like some kind of little spices.
It's Cajun spices.
Cajun corn on the
Cajun
cob.
walking corn, that's what it's called. So
Yes.
let's start with this.
Okay. Get in here. Okay, this is good.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really good.
Might need a little salt.
I think I could do it with a little more cheese, honestly. I always need more cheese.
Okay.
So,
You can never have too much cheese.
no.
So I'm gonna rate this a 4 for flavor and a 4 for walkability. And my number is gonna be 8.
Okay. So we got a 7 here. We got a 7.
Our next course is the walking corn, street corn they called it, and it's an entire ear of corn, which is sort of exciting.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah? Okay. Oh my God.
Isn't that amazing? Oh,
Yes.
really good. Unfortunately, the walkability is not good, so I'm giving it an 8.
I'm definitely giving it a 5 for flavor. I'm not sure about walking through and going on rides holding this. I'm not sure if that's great. So I'm going to give it a 2. So I have another 7 here.
Come in here. 3, 4.
Now it's time for our first dessert. This is the fried Oreo cookie that everybody talked about. Let's each take one.
Yes. I've never had a fried Oreo before, so I'm really excited to try this. This is amazing. I get the hype now. I
giving this a
understand.
10,
I understand why everybody loves fried
although
Oreos.
it's very messy.
Yeah. It's a little messy for us here. Oh. Oh no. 10 out of 10, would recommend.
Okay. The final thing that we're eating is fried dough. And this has both powdered sugar and cinnamon sugar on it.
Yes.
So let's tear off a piece.
Get right in here.
Yeah. Now this is the ultimate fair food, so it's very
Yes.
walkable.
Cheers.
Cheers. Well, I'll tell you, it doesn't stink.
No, the cinnamon sugar, love it.
So 5 for flavor, 5 for walkability. I'm giving it a 10.
It's easy to walk around the fair with this. The little cinnamon sugar touch, amazing. So definitely a 10. So we have a tie.
Coming up, we're going to be having our third and fourth desserts, and then we're going to schlep on over to AG Commissioner Richard Ball. Stay with us. Oh my God. Currently 7% of domestic butter is imported, most of it from Ireland, but there's a new 15% tariff on EU products, and that includes butter. So that KerryGold butter that you like, it's going to be more expensive. And that could lead consumers to purchasing more U.S.-made butter, which could benefit farmers, but at the same time, it could also mean that the cost of U.S.-made butter may rise as the result of the lower consumption of imported butter. It's not at all surprising to find the Commissioner of Ag and Markets here at the New York State Fair. Richard Ball is not only the Ag Commissioner, he's also a farmer. He owns Schoharie Valley Farms in Carrick Barn. And I wanted to know if you're enjoying yourself at the fair today. Easy question to start off.
This is a great day to be me, okay? It's a very good day, yes.
What is a too well-kept secret at the State Fair?
The Rainbow Milk Bar, which everybody knows.
Yeah.
Properly chilled, cup of milk, chocolate. But all the young people that are dispensing the milk for you are 4-H kids.
Oh, that's
They
great.
have all gone to visit a dairy farm, visit a processing facility where
So
the
they
milk is
learn
made.
the story behind the milk.
Yeah, they learn the story behind the milk, and now they're kind of tuned into, like, maybe there's an opportunity when I get older in the food system.
It's great.
Which is really special for me.
So the life of a farmer is tough, and it just got maybe a little tougher with these tariffs. Have they affected your farm at all?
Yes.
How so?
Well, tariffs hit a farm coming and going. First of all, when a farm buys inputs in the spring, fertilizer, seed, materials to put up new buildings, whatever construction projects, we see a tariff is on those products because so many of them come from the people we do business with overseas. For us in New York, Canada's our close neighbor, and we do a lot of business with Canada, for example.
There are two different kinds of tariffs. There is the U.S. tariff that we place on our products, and then there's the retaliatory tariff that other countries place on our products. Have farmers like you been, has it been difficult to sell their products overseas because of those tariffs?
Well, it complicates things. One of the nice things for me about being commissioner in New York is every year I sit down, all of us in the U.S., secretaries, commissioners, directors of ag, sit down with our counterparts, the ministers of ag in Canada and our secretaries of ag in Mexico, and we talk about these issues. We were fundamental in the conversations around NAFTA and again around the USMCA, the trade agreement for North America. And these are thoughtful conversations that need to happen. And when we're not thoughtful about it, then we irritate each other, we have trade irritants, and we can work these things out if we talk to each other, but they need to be thoughtful conversations. So.
Okay, so now you're talking about these tariffs that are coming down the pike right now. I hear that, for example, beef and dairy farmers are doing okay this year, but row crop farmers, people who grow soy, corn, wheat, for example, they're not doing very well.
Well, there's great concern in the row crops, corn and soybeans in particular, because China has been by far the largest consumer of those products. For us in vegetables and fruits and the specialty crops, dairy in particular, because we do so much business with Mexico and Canada on those, everybody's nervous, everybody's anxious right now.
What is New York State doing to help its farmers insulate themselves against insulate themselves against these tariffs?
Well, you know, we've got fortunately a great relationship with the legislature, and the governor is very supportive of ag programs. So, for example, a month ago we put out a program and announced the results. $21.9 million worth of funding for dairy farmers to improve their infrastructure on the farm, big farms, small farms. bulk tank storages, ease of work, investments in their farm, the investment tax credit, refundable one. So many farmers took advantage of that to improve their farms, double down on their investment in New York State and their families. So I think New York has put together a branding program for New York products. We learned so much, and this came out of, we've had a good tradition
You mean like
of
the Grown in
supporting
New York program?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, Grown in New York, New York Grown and Certified we call it, helping farmers connect with the market. We went through a pandemic. We learned so many things in that pandemic, life lessons, because what happened was that the food chain was disrupted. We had to replummet. So how do we reconnect? Nourish New York was a great example of that. And I think the lesson there was for consumers that New York State needs to have a food system that's responsive and resilient right here. Let's not depend on another country for food if we go through something like that. And also, I think consumers heard that, but I think farmers realized there was customers that they didn't know they had.
Got it. Thank you. Before I let you go, I have one question for you, and that is, where should we go next?
Let me mull that over.
Got it. The commissioner is a wise man. Still to come, we're going to be talking about the agricultural landscape of New York State. It's Capital Tonight at the State Fair. Stay with us. Welcome back to Capital Tonight. We don't have a really clear picture yet of how tariffs are going to be impacting farmers, or at least of the entire agricultural landscape. But we do know that farmers in New York are having a tough time of it. And we know that because of a report put out by the state controller in 2024. And who should I run into at the New York State Dairy Birthing Center but the controller himself? Tom DiNapoli, it's great to see you.
Susan, we're not in studio, but we're together at the great New York State Fair.
Yes, we are, and it's great to see you.
It's a great day. Yeah.
What are you guys doing here?
Well, I come every year, and we begin the day with a breakfast where we honor some great Central New Yorkers. So we had about 400 people, and it was a great celebration. And then, of course, we have various staff members here from retirement, 529 College Savings Program, Human Resources, and, of course, unclaimed funds.
We're here because we're talking about tariffs and how they're affecting farmers. How critical is agriculture to the New York State economy?
It's about $2.7 billion of gross domestic product for New York State, about 167,000 jobs. So a very, very important part of our economy. And, the tariff question is an important one. Keep in mind, Canada is our biggest trading relationship. And Canada is one of those countries, there's still a lot of issues about tariffs that have not been resolved. So when you look at about 70% of agricultural products from New York go to Canada, about 50% of the processed products go to Canada. Until that's all sorted out, that already is starting to have a negative impact on our farmers. And then you expand it more globally, they're rightfully concerned, not to mention inflation, cost of borrowing, you go down a long list. A lot of pressures that are being faced by farmers.
So there are a lot of people watching right now that don't have a real connection with the agriculture industry. Why should they care that, for example, we're losing hundreds of farms?
We're losing hundreds of farms, and we're losing farmland, both.
Yeah.
So in
and
New
both
York,
are critical.
Both are critical. And New York, keep in mind, Susan, we're largely family farms. We're not the big agribusinesses in other states. So this is a real concern because we want to have close access to healthy, nutritious, fresh food that comes from our farms. So I think it's very much in the public health interest for us to make sure we're preserving these farms and this farmland. We learned that through COVID, didn't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's when a lot of the support lines they were
Supply
devastated.
lines were devastated, yeah.
There were almost 5,000 fewer farms in New York in 2022 than there were in 2012, your report found, and that's a 14% decrease. So even before tariffs, farmers were having a tough time. You mentioned a few things. You mentioned the pandemic, you mentioned inflation. What else is facing farmers right now?
Well, immigration policy obviously is an impact. It's estimated that as many as 40% of farm workers are undocumented. And, we may not have hard numbers yet, but anecdotally, a lot of folks are afraid to show up for work, and farmers are having a harder time hiring people. And before you know it, we'll be into the fall harvest season, and harvest season for certain crops and products, very short window. If those that have the farms can't get the farm workers to do the work of picking and processing, it's really going to have a devastating economic impact.
You said that we don't have hard numbers yet, but you have anecdotal evidence. Now, when will we have hard numbers on the migrant farm workers?
Well, that's always kind of a moving target to figure, because they're undocumented, sometimes it's hard to judge that. So, but we will try to collect data as it's reported, and we'll talk to the farmers. Well, that's probably the best source of information and data.
Some people don't know, but you were a lawmaker before you became the state controller. What can lawmakers do to make it easier for farmers, because they are having a tough time?
And New York has had a lot of programs in that regard. So more to encourage direct marketing from the farms to the homes, to consumers. That would be smart. Programs that we have that support farm to table, or Nourish New York program that gets farm products to our food banks.
We've heard that a few times today.
Nourish New York, I'm sure. Commissioner Ball's been around too.
Yes.
And the Ag and Markets maintains those programs. More money on research. Climate change is affecting our farmers. We didn't mention that. These severe weather incidents are having a devastating impact. How can we better prepare the farmers to deal with climate change? Also disease. To crops, infestations. So, great institutions like Cornell that do great research, more support there. And then, of course, more to support next generation farmers. We need to encourage the younger folks, many of whom don't necessarily want to keep on the family tradition. But I think it's important to provide more training, more encouragement for the next generation of farmers. The legislature, through the budget process, can do more to target money in that way.
What are you looking forward to eating today?
Well, I already had the sausage and peppers, and I haven't been yet to see the butter sculpture. Not that I'm going to eat the butter sculpture, but something dairy, because dairy is the #1 agricultural product in New York.
Got it. Controller Napoli,
Thank you, Susan. Great to be with you always.
So the upshot of our day at the fair is that tariffs are having an impact on farmers. The uncertainty a little bit, but what's definitely a big deal is the tariffs on steel coming from Europe. A lot of capital investments like Marcus Richards' dairy milking facility, that's going to be a lot more expensive because of the tariffs. That's our show for you. If you want to write to us, please do. We love getting your letters. CapitalTonight@charter.com. I want to thank our crew here today, Nick Inco, Matt Soriano, and of course our producer, Mary Frances Stout. I'm Susan Arbetter. Thank you for watching Capital Tonight. You always have a seat at the table.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage. And click the subscribe button here. You can also download our app and watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.